Who Corner to Corner. This is a very special episode today. I was going to say tonight, because it is tonight, but it might be today when you're listening to it. I don't know. That's nonsense. Maybe I'll cut that, but I'm just going to carry on now. So, my name's Jeff, as I'm sure you know by now, and he over there is called Paul. How are you today?
There. Hey, what? Yeah, I'm good actually. I'm a little bit phased out today, but because I've just smashed a really fierce madras, so it's kind of messing with my head a little bit.
I wondered where that was going for a moment.
I'm glad we're not in the same room right now.
You don't want to be in the same room, mate. I'll tell you now. I've got candles burning out there, and I'm going to need a whole flamethrower after this is finished. I'll tell you now. I might even start producing my own. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The night is young, as they say.
So, I thought there was some sweat on your brow, but I thought it was just being in my presence.
Yeah. Well, it is that, yeah.
That's just making me even more overheated, that is, Joe.
So, as you might have been able to tell by now, we have a very special guest with us tonight. It's Mr. Joe Ford from Hamster with a Blunt Penknife podcast fame. Good evening. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm sick as a dog right now, but the only thing that's got me through today is the fact that I can wax lyrical about Jodie Whittaker tonight with you boys.
That is lovely. Yes, you are struggling with genuine flu a bit, aren't you?
That's right. So if I sound slightly sexier than usual, I usually sound pretty sexy.
I mean, is that possible?
Well, actually, I did want to ask you fellas, before we go into the commentary, have any of us actually slept together in the past?
Not so I remember, but who knows?
Oh, okay.
Can
Filth
neither
work then. That's good.
Confirm or deny.
Okay. I've got a rating for both of you. Don't you worry. One's just slightly higher than the other.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
Not sure which side of that I want to be, but I'll take it.
What are we going to watch today?
Well,
What are we going to watch, Jeff?
We're going to watch Eve of the Daleks and have a good chat about it.
Yes.
This came up on Twitter. I can't remember how it happened, but you tweeted me, Joe, and you said you could talk about this episode all day long, every day.
Till the cows come home.
I believe that's what you said. So I messaged you and I said, let's do this, because as listeners might know, and as you might know, Joe, we sometimes do episode commentaries. And so this brings a bit of a new dimension to it, and we might have some other commentaries getting lined up with special guests as well, which is quite exciting. So you've kick-started something here, Joe, which is exciting. That's it, commentary king. So we'll all line up the episode and hit play at the same time. And if you want to do so at home on your iPlayer or I guess Disney Plus, depending on where you are,
or your VHS.
Yeah, can you get Eve of the Daleks on VHS? I'd be quite impressed.
Not yet, anyway.
I would imagine everybody's watching on the iPlayer, right? Although, have you all got the Blu-rays of this?
Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah.
The quality is so much better on the Blu-ray.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. You should have seen a picture of it I took on my phone a few weeks back.
I did, and I saw the arguments you were having people online about that as well.
Yeah, come on, bring it on, bastards.
Jesus Christ.
Don't look like that in my tally. I don't give a shit.
Well, don't blame us because your TV's shit, all right?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Fucking nutties. Anyway, excuse my friend. Right, okay, we ready?
Yes, and then at the end, when we finish the episode, we've got some voice notes from people and some comments and other people's thoughts.
Build up the suspense, Jeff. Don't give it all away.
Oh. How much can we insult those people, though, as you're sort of reading out the
as
comments?
we discussed earlier, you may go as wild as you like.
Right,
I see what you said there. You may.
Yeah, you've got to be nice, all right? They're your audience.
Paul needs to...
They ain't my audience, so I go wild.
I'll give it to us. Right, okay, before this gets any more crazy than it already is, shall we press play on 3?
Yes.
Go for it.
1, 2, 3.
I'm in. I'm playing. I have a car of some description pulling up outside Elf Storage. Why is it called Elf Storage?
You mean self-storage, right? But the S
has
fell off.
dropped off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
which makes it
the episode
Christmassy.
starts with a song, doesn't it, as well? Which is always a great sign for me.
And it feels quite Christmassy, doesn't it?
Very moody.
Oh my God! Now I can never get this woman's name right. What is it?
Aisling
Bea?
Aisling Bea?
Isn't she
Aisling
superb in
She's
this?
fantastic.
She's really
brilliant.
good.
I think this is one of the very best Doctor Who guest turns you will ever see in the new series.
And she is another example of comedians coming into the show
and being brilliant.
Being brilliant. So I remember, and I've said this before on the podcast, but when Catherine Tate was announced, I was like, oh dear, not sure about that. Proven immediately wrong. Matt Lucas, not sure about that.
Yeah.
Proven
Bradley
wrong.
Walsh. Oh,
Bradley
dear.
Walsh.
Billy Piper.
John Bishop.
No,
Yeah,
you
John
know.
Bishop. And
Billy Piper.
But you know what she does, right? You know what she does that's so impressive is her character is written in a very unlikable way for the first half of this episode, in that she's displayed
That's a really good point.
cowardice. She's not a very nice person at all, and yet you're on her side from the very beginning because she's funny. She's so funny.
And I get the feeling as well that a lot of that stems from the exasperation that she has with her mum, and by extension, every other person she interacts with. You know, there's just something that she just gets really wound up by, but it's all in her head, right? It's there, but she's so comedic with it. But naturally comedic, right? It's a natural comedy. It's not forced. It's just because she's a funny person.
I think Chib has struck gold with her, if I'm honest. I think if it had been anyone else in this role, this episode wouldn't have landed.
I think you're right, Joe. Yeah, she does come across quite, spiky and blunt here, doesn't she? And any other performer, you'd have thought, I don't like you at all. I'm not interested in this. But actually, despite all of this, there's something about it that kind of draws you in, and you kind of.
It's a delivery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I see honesty as well. I love the bit later on where she goes, oh, by the way, when I said to you that I came looking for you in the second loop, I didn't. Sorry. But, I'm sure if I'd have found a weapon, I would have done. Yeah. But
I would have done, yeah.
And
Nick here, poor old Nick. Nick is besotted by her, isn't he? Bless him.
Yeah, you could tell straight away.
He looks forward to this night for the whole year, just so he can see her again. I think there's something
and you know what?
Beautifully tragic about that.
I remember my days back in Sainsbury's, and there'd be the odd girl that would come in quite regularly, and you think, I've got a bit of a crush on her and stuff. I bet anyone who's worked in a shop has had a similar situation like that. Which is what
I work in a shop now.
He does work in a shop.
I know you do.
I don't go around nicking the customers' things and putting them in a self-storage place.
You don't go and hide all the beans,
Eve.
all the curry beans in a warehouse or something. You got a little cage at the back there that you stick them all in.
Now, this is going to be my first of many praise things for Chris Chibnall here, but I think having New Year's specials was such a brilliant idea. After the Christmas specials have been done to death at this point. Yeah. And I think, I didn't mind the Church of Ruby Road too much, but I thought it was a lot weaker than the 3 New Year specials that we just had. Because what Chivers did, he just goes for, the blockbuster, New Year's blockbuster.
Yeah.
And that's always fun.
Yeah, well, the New Year's blockbuster, that things like, when I was a kid, it was things like the Towering Inferno, disaster movies, the Poseidon Adventure, where literally everybody, apart from 3 people, die.
I just got a comment on the lighting in this set. Look at that, the way the crystal columns are.
Lovely.
So much colour.
A much underrated set, may I say.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, I'm not sure about those enormous penises that come down to attack her every time she's at the console.
Do you know, I've watched this so many times and never once seen an enormous penis. I don't know what goes on in your head, Joe.
It's in long
shot. I don't know what goes on in your head, mate.
You'll see them coming at her. It's strange. We've got our first female doctor and she's surrounded by a load of knobs in the console.
A lot of phallic stuff going on in there, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
She had the goggles on again?
Yeah, goggles. Goggles on 13, always a win.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's not too often, is it? Was it Spyfall? She wears them. Obviously, Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Maybe in Tesla as well.
Tesla.
Yeah. So not too overdone.
Oh my God! Look at this special effects sequence. This will make you cream your knickers.
Yes, the whole console room shifts and revolves and changes.
Look at the way the walls fold up.
I wish it had been longer. That
I love that.
Oh, and this is a one-time only director, isn't it? Annetta Lautner. What a fabulous job she does on this episode.
Brilliant.
Frankly,
look at
they should have got her in for Legends of the Sea Devils as well. That was a first-time director, someone who had never directed TV before. And, look where we ended up there.
Chris had a habit of bringing in new directors and writers for the show. So like Azur Salim, who did half of Flux. His work before that was short films, award-winning short films and stuff. And Az was great, and he slotted in really well on it. But I think Legend of the Sea Devils, as we know from talking to writer Ella Rode and Chris, was a last-minute commission, and I think there was production problems in it. There's points in it when you can tell people are not in the same scene together. You know, they've been shot at different times. You can't see
a lot of it edited as well. Or didn't
Yes,
they edit
yes.
down?
Yeah, I think so. It's strangely edited in places
let me just
as well.
bump in here with this one where John Bishop, Dan, he's absolutely gutted the fact that he's a Scouse and he's spending New Year's Eve in Manchester. That is like the ultimate shame for anybody from Liverpool. You cannot do that.
Also, I was just going to say the TARDIS there, where it's got the cracks on it. I always thought that was CG on it, but there was I think maybe on Unleashed recently, there was a tour of the warehouse, you know, at Bad Wolf, where they've got all the creatures and stuff, and it was actually a proper TARDIS prop because you could see it in the background, so that was quite nice.
I remember seeing that because it was in all the promotional pictures.
That's right.
Wasn't it? The TARDIS with the sort of the cracks all over it, thinking it was going to be a big part of the plot. Actually, it kind of... Well, I mean, it is, isn't it? Because it's the TARDIS that creates the loop that saves the Doctor.
Yeah.
Which is kind of great.
Look at the light in here as well. We're going all red light now, aren't we?
In terms of having to write a Doctor Who story in COVID, this is fucking genius.
Yeah.
Isn't it? One location, 5 characters, and a couple of Daleks.
And also the fact that, you know, maybe, Paul, we could play some of Chris's interview at the end of this episode, but you know, he had something else written that they wanted to do, and then
it was all storyboarded out and everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing, and then Matt Streven
rather than this,
yeah,
and
they
then
had like all the directors pretty much signed up.
Yeah.
They all kind of agreed to it, but then they just looked at it and thought, we just can't do it, we can't afford it.
Yeah,
this
we're
is
just not going to do it.
one of the most popular Chibnall era episodes. I'm really pleased they made this.
He wrote this in 2 days. I think Matt Streven said we can't afford to do this episode. We're gonna have to scrap it.
Isn't it strange though how when you think that Midnight was a last minute replacement, this is a last minute. Some of the best episodes are written in City of Death was written in a weekend.
Exactly. Yeah, I think when he backs against the wall and the clock is ticking, you've got to produce. You've got to produce your best stuff. We've got to put it on the table.
When you're around me.
Behave yourself.
What could possibly be coming down in the lift here?
And you're right as well, Joe, like, and Paul, with the lighting and the fact that this is all in one location, and it could have been so dull, like, in terms of the whole plot, the visuals, you know, they just did such a good job on this.
As a little sort of research for this, there's only an 8-minute documentary on the Blu-ray set, so I watched that just before coming on the call. And they said because it is such a limited location, they really focused on what you just said there, the lighting, the cinematography, and especially how they shot the Daleks. You're going to see some of the best looking Daleks you're ever going to see in the new series in this episode. And mate, how cool is that gun?
I love the minigun. I was just going to ask you, what do you guys think of the Dalek minigun?
Yeah,
it's so cool.
It's amazing,
and also, just coming up in a second, another superb Chibs cliffhanger moment, you know, or pre-titles moment here.
Oh, what, killing the Doctor?
Yeah.
It's the ultimate cliffhanger, right?
And because you know something's going to happen, but what a moment.
Jodie's in that documentary, she goes, well, I got the script on my mat, and I started reading through it, and it said, the Doctor gets exterminated. She goes, oh, really?
What?
Am I leaving the show earlier than I thought?
I've still got 2 episodes contracted.
Oh, man.
Like this.
Shit. But, like, by this point, now I've always loved Jodie Whittaker as a Doctor, but in her 3rd series, man, she's on fire.
Yeah.
She's on, you're right. She's totally just, we needed more.
Yeah.
You know, another series. You know, we got these 3 specials, but another series.
I always look at it like, we were lucky to get anything because, you know, it could... Well, there was a point, wasn't there, Paul, where it wasn't going to happen at all, you know, with COVID, and they just said, we can't do this. And then Chris said that we can't let that happen, and they all agreed, you know, we'll basically give up our lives and our careers to do this last series. So
the fact that something as ambitious, as visually ambitious as the Flux was created during COVID is a massive kudos to Chibnall for that.
Absolutely.
When I see people say they think it's a mess and they don't like it and stuff, I think, okay, fine, you know, not everything is for everyone, but when you know about how difficult it was to make it and the lengths they went to repeat actors and sets, and it really is a massive achievement.
I don't want to contradict you here, but I'm going to. Because I don't think you need to make excuses for the Flux, because I think episode to episode it's perfectly entertaining.
Yeah. It's incredible, yeah.
It is told on a huge visual palette. Yep. Everything is paid off if you pay attention.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
You pay attention.
100%. Yeah. You're dead right. Bang on.
I think, for me, that's my second favourite series of the entire
is it really?
series.
What's your first favourite?
4.
I thought you'd say, yeah.
Series
4 is pretty much banger after banger.
5 is so overrated. Good grief. Everyone loves 5, don't they? Oh, don't you love this when they run out the TARDIS and go, where's the beach?
Deja vu. Yeah. We've done this before. It's really nicely done, hasn't it? How the kind of realisation that they're in a time loop, it just happens. Well, it's pretty quick, because sometimes people don't realise they're in a time loop. It takes a long time for them to get it. But they have to move on this one. You've hit it on the head, because you've seen a lot of genre TV, and so have I. Every show's done a time loop episode, and in them, it always takes them about 2/3 of the episode to realise they're going round and round and round. The joy of this is that they know straight away, and the loop is shortening, so it's different every single time. And they kind of carry memories over as well, don't they? Which, again, is not a thing that always happens. But
so they can use the stuff they've learned to their advantage. And
it's like a computer game. With its own rules, right? I think this is why this episode would appeal to kids a lot.
Oh, interesting.
There's rules to the loop in this, and as we go through the episodes, both the Daleks and the Doctor realise what the rules of the loop are, and they both start using the loop against each other. It's a really clever script.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Do you know? It just struck me as well. It's almost like a kind of inverted, like an inverted Heaven Sent. In a way, which, I mean, Heaven Sent in a way is a kind of a time loop story, right? The Doctor's on a loop time and time again, but he doesn't remember anything from one to the other, so he has to write messages, and it takes him, like, was it 20-odd billion years or something to figure it out or something.
I mean, I'm going to give you
They've literally got 8
here,
minutes in either the Daleks to figure it out and survive, which I like.
Choice. You can either spend billions of years walking around a castle with that old man, or you can spend 10 minutes in this warehouse with a load of Daleks. Fabulous. Come on, you know what you choose.
It's not really a choice, is it?
No, exactly.
Hey, this has got Christmas trees in it, so, and bubble wrap force fields, so I'm always going to take this.
And I wanted to go back to what you said earlier, Joe, about doing the New Year's Eve episodes, because the Christmas stuff was always fun, but, Moffat himself admitted that they were really struggling to kind of shoehorn Christmas stuff into
If you watched The Return of Dr. Mysterio, he didn't need to tell us that. We could see it, that he was struggling.
Do you know, I like that one, because that was kind of a return to the fun, because all the Christmas episodes before then from Stephen Moffat were actually really dark and quite grim. Last Christmas.
I do really like Last Christmas.
I really like Last Christmas.
Clever.
As a Christmas episode?
It's unbelievable that went out on Christmas Day. Like, it's so dark.
Go for it. Yeah.
This thing here is one of my favourite things in television. The character you never see.
Jeff, Silent Jeff. Yeah.
And Jeff and his storage of insane items in this thing. Now, we can never meet Jeff because it would absolutely spoil. We've all got an idea of who this guy is, right?
Yeah.
We all know a Jeff.
He's
like
basically the sixth character in the story, but we just never see him.
Yeah, this is brilliant, because I know some people who run a self-storage place, and I've said to them, what stuff do you have in here? And they're like, there's all sorts of weird things. Some people just have, they pay every month and they don't store anything. Some people just store a bike. Some people come down at the weekends and they get out there, barbecue, and they have the mates down there at the weekend. They have a barbecue in there. And then I filmed a music video once at a place in Canary Wharf, storage centre, and I said to the guy there, what do you have in here? He said, one of these places is filled with Boris bikes. One of these has got some massive CCTV system in. We don't know what it does. We don't want to know. And, there's expensive cars in them, all sorts of stuff. So
I don't like to keep it in my house. So I keep my sex dungeon in a self-storage place.
I thought you were going to say your posh car, but...
well, no.
That's just on the drive.
Look at this here where she faces up to the Dalek.
But is this the bit where she says, please don't kill me, where she begs the Dalek not to kill her?
Go on.
Look at how she acts this scene, though. All the comedy drops, and she's really scared.
Terrified. Yeah. She's
That's how you
like
play Doctor Who.
begging
You're
for her
funny
life,
until it's really serious, and then you're scared. There's a wonderful bit later on when she runs into the lift and the Daleks shooting all around her and she's trapped inside it.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
Nick's gone again.
What do you guys think of Nick? Because, the phrase is he's
Nick's
a good-hearted weirdo, but he's been storing all the stuff there, and some people think it's a bit weird, but I think he's putting it there purely so he can go to see, visit every year.
I mean, that's a bit weird as well, right? Both things are a bit weird. But he's clearly a good-hearted guy. I mean, really, Nick, the purpose of Nick is to be one half of the romantic duo in this episode. But two, just to get that really dreadful joke later, exterminated, when the Dalek destroys all of his ex's stuff.
But we have had the really good kind of in-joke a minute ago, which was, I am not Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Which is good fun. There's a few of those in here, isn't it?
Look at Jodie, man. She's totally defiant.
Yeah.
There's a bit later on, right? It's one of my favourite ever Jodie scenes. I'll probably be talking when it comes, so I'll just say it now. Where she's in the last loop, where she's relaxing in the chair and the Dalek comes in and he goes, Daleks do not have friends. And she just goes, yeah, well, whose fault is that? She's so great. She's so confident at this point.
Yeah.
She just knows how to do it.
Totally agree. I do wish we'd got another year or so.
Yeah,
it'd be brilliant. So it's like Peter Davison's Doctor as well. You can see in his third series he's just really starting to enjoy it almost. You know what I mean? Get rid of all the stuff that was holding him back. Now he's into it. He's just having a lot of fun, and the character is just oozing out, it's exploding out of him.
Well,
it's the same with Jodie here. She's just
really
on
liked Bradley Walsh, and I really liked Tosin Cole. Everyone seems to like Tosin Cole. I think he's a very
he's great.
I think he's very understated and naturalistic.
It's very naturalistic, which is the best kind of acting. It's acting that you don't see. It's invisible acting.
Well,
it doesn't look like acting.
I do think it was a good choice to lose one companion and just have two, because it just opens up. Weirdly enough, it opens up more storytelling possibilities because everyone gets more to do.
Yeah.
Oh, they do, and it's nice as well actually. Because the companions sort of go off in different directions, and we get lots of different pairings as well, don't we? So we get a lot of different character interactions between them. So, and this is great because we've got the rom-com element as well. So we see a sort of, is it a burgeoning relationship between Nick and Sarah? I don't know, because it's happening so rapidly, and it's in the face of such extreme danger.
And me were facing this extreme danger in this warehouse, all right, I'm telling you now, we'd be fucking by midnight, all right? Okay? If I thought I was going to die, I'd grab hold of the nearest person. Yeah.
Well, I always thought they did like each other, but it's taken this to throw them together fully and make them be able to admit their feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. You've come from the council. You make me sick. She knows.
Make me sick, you do, boy. What's going on?
But there's just something about Yaz and Dan as well.
I was just going to say that. Some of their stuff in Flux when they're on the boat with Jericho and stuff. So good.
Nice,
and the moment coming up later when he says to Yaz, why haven't you told her? And, he sees it all,
In fact, do you know what? That's so well played in this episode. It's interesting. I only learnt it from your interview with Chris Chibnall that none of that was initially planned, that relationship, and it was a reaction to the feedback they were getting. But boy, it works like gangbusters when they actually go for it.
Yeah.
I do wish they'd had a kiss.
Yeah,
I do. No, not for Jesus Christ. I don't want to see two women kissing, but I just feel like that would have been like on the TARDIS when they had the two ice cream cones. I would have loved them to have
done
a kiss
the moment,
then.
wouldn't it?
Yeah. They debated it a lot, didn't they? Whether to do it or not, and they said we did, and we felt that it kind of kept it more.
It's like because it wouldn't be the first time the Doctor's had a bit of a snog, but it's never been. I think with Yaz and the Doctor, it would have been something much more meaningful than we've ever seen in the show before. And I think maybe in some ways, I don't know, because it could have gone that, wasn't it? Chris was saying there was nothing that really stopped him putting it in, for example. The BBC, he would have gone for it, the BBC would have gone for it, and the actors would have been up for it. It's not a problem. It's just, just decided not to.
Yeah. Well, I think what they landed on in the end was two people that love each other in different ways. And we've all been there, right? We've all known that person where we just adore being together. And one of us is involved emotionally, and the other one just loves being with you.
Yeah.
And it's basically, it's not me, it's you, right?
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
See, I love this now. The reveal of where, the reasoning behind Nick's, quotation fingers, weirdness, obsession, or whatever. It's like, because at the start of this, if you think Nick is weird, right, it comes from inside you. This is my theory, right? Because you're looking at what he's doing from the outside. It's the same way that we say something is random, right? Nothing's really random. It's just that you don't know the reasons, the cause that made that effect, right? You don't know the chain of events that led up to it. So and by the same token, you don't know what's happened in Nick's life for him to do what he does. You're really just putting him in a frame of the only thing you can think about, or the only thing you know, which is serial killer or whatever, but it comes from you. It doesn't come from Nick. So, and I think there's a kind of a lesson there for all of us to kind of not judge people by first sight of these first impressions that you can always get from someone. There's always a person behind it. There's a lifetime behind that someone that you may only see for 5 minutes every year or something.
Got two responses to what you've just said there.
One is bollocks.
No. One is, if I was going on a date with somebody and they told me they had a warehouse full of items of all their exes, that would be a massive red flag for me. And two, I have photographs of time I spent with my last 5 exes. So I have kept mementos of my previous exes. So I suppose...
And there's reasons you do that, isn't there? Right.
Yeah. That's just a massive
I don't really want to know
there,
what your
Joe.
reasons are, but there are reasons for you doing it.
Do you know, there's a gag. We just talked over, there's a gag in that room where they go, "Oh, are they still alive, your exes?" And he goes, "Yeah," and they all go, "Oh, thank God." It's really well timed. I don't know why. I feel like by the time we came to the Flux, right, suddenly... all of that comedy, which sometimes landed and sometimes didn't, every joke landed from the Flux onwards. I feel like John Bishop was giving all the scripts a once over, going, "You know what, Chris? No. Yes, that's funny." Yeah,
we can do that though, can't we?
There
That'd
we
be
go.
funny,
That's a better accent than what I was just doing.
I don't know what that was that you were doing.
No, I always end up somewhere south of Ireland.
Did you meet Jodie and Mandip at one of your con adventures?
I met Mandip. Yeah. And I said, "Can I give you a hug?" And she went, "Oh, I always have to ask people to give me a hug. Come here." Oh, she was lovely.
Brilliant.
Tiny, because I was a big bloke, but...
Yeah. Meeting them both at MCM the other year they were both just brilliant. We'll eventually get them on the podcast, hopefully. It wasn't a no, but they're busy.
Well, I mean, they're very talented. I'm sure they're both working a lot.
Yeah, they got better things to do than chat to us two nerds, but,
Hey, we spoke to Jo Martin when she was in her dressing room.
Yes, that's true, yeah. Yeah, Joe squeezed us in between filming.
I beg your pardon? Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jo Martin. Right, yeah.
I don't remember that. He says
no, neither do I.
Lovely Joe sandwich.
Maybe you slipped me one of those pills.
I like this when they're kind of trapped in the container, aren't they? There's no way out the back. They run in there to get away from the Dalek, and then they realise there's no way out.
She goes, "Well, where's the exit?" And he goes, "What do you mean? It's there."
Yeah.
She goes, "What? You've just let us into it." Great.
It's brilliant. It gives them time to kind of plot explain a little bit, doesn't it?
This is literally a base under siege, right? This is a Troughton base under siege, but just in a warehouse.
Mm-hmm. The monster's already inside, like the
You're
Horrorfang
absolutely
rock.
right. I'd never twigged at that before, but it is, isn't it? Yeah. Look at where he's holding a ski there.
Well, sort of both geographically and temporally, because it's they're also trapped in the loop as well. It just means as well we can just keep killing them, which is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
How many episodes does the Doctor actually die? You know what I mean? There's not that many.
Well, it's just regeneration stories. That's it.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
So he gets to break all the rules.
The Dalek does look cool there, but I must say I really liked the what they call the junkyard one. That we got in Resolution and then
me
Revolution.
Too. I've got the toy downstairs.
Yeah, I've got a Funko Pop of it. Yeah. They looked great. Yeah. They never made a character options.
Is an absolute banger of an episode, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Watching that Dalek come together like that. after Moffat had the Daleks not killing anybody for 6 years. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be so mean about Stephen Moffat. But,
and then this one comes out, fires off a load of rockets, and it gets into a massive firefight with the
left fifth
army.
floor. They're straight on it now as regards this time loop, aren't they? There's no time to sit around talking. It's just do, go.
But it should be kind of boring, right? It should be repetitive.
You think so, wouldn't you? But it isn't. It just ups the tension every time.
I just feel as if the director knew exactly what she was doing. And that's another thing as well to praise this era for, is how many female creatives Chris Chibnall brought in, writers and directors. Because, you know what, I'm quite keen on the new series. I'm really enjoying it. But it's a massive backward step in terms of representation in the creative staff that are making it.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a shame that it is, but
hopefully series 2 will make a shift back.
And if it does, then that would be great. And I can understand to an extent why with this first series, you know, they brought Russell back. You know, maybe it's part of the agreement. You know, you're going to be majority lead writer on this series and stuff, and you know.
Whereas with Chris, I got the sense it was more of a flat team structure. You know, he's in charge, but it was everybody bring their ideas.
Well, they had their writers' room, didn't they? And everybody was kind of involved in that. Oh, this is the Dan facing off with the Dalek with the boxes.
Oh yeah,
and he just has a right. Do you know, it must be something when you're facing a Dalek, and in a way, getting exterminated doesn't matter. Right, you know it's going to happen. You can just have a bit of fun with the thing, right?
And he does.
And he does, yeah.
It's great because they do a lot of the POV really shots in this episode, and I love those.
Is this a bit you were talking about earlier, John?
Yeah. I was going to come for you. No, I wasn't. No.
She owns up.
I'm sorry, guys. You wouldn't have a hope. If there was a Dalek in there, I'll be out that door. Quick, sharpish, all right?
Where's he gone?
Hey, I'm honest, right?
Trail of smoke in the distance. It's all that remains. Here we go. Dan's got the box. It's just classic, this.
Isn't he making jokes about it being an automated
don't
worker?
make you new here. And the Dalek goes with it as well. It answers his questions because it doesn't it just doesn't understand.
The Daleks get great lines in this, don't they?
They really do.
Yeah, they do.
The thing is, it still sounds in character, weirdly, for the Daleks. You know that thing in Doomsday where you got, is it Doomsday? Army, whatever one it is, where you got Daleks v Cybermen. And they're kind of dissing each other's. They're saying, my mum's better than your mum, or whatever it is. And it's like,
I loved all that.
Do you?
Well, it's just like a Friday night around my house, really.
Yeah, around your house. But would Daleks and Cybermen say that? I don't know. But this still feels very Dalek-y to me. Anyway, he's dodging it there, like.
He goes, Cybermen do not care about aesthetics, and the Dalek says, yeah,
something
that's
like
obvious. Or something like that.
There's literally
Meow,
each other.
You bitch. But they enjoy taunting them as well in this episode. There's a bit where the Dalek goes up to Dan Yaz after the confession, and he basically says, the Doctor won't save you this time, and then kills them both. It's great.
Is that the one where... Because one of the time loops doesn't go well for them at all, does it? I think, is it the next one from this one, maybe? They have a great plan, they plan it out, and they all get killed within seconds, it seems.
So then they realise that they need to do a decoy loop and convince the Daleks they're doing something completely different when they're in fact doing that.
It's again, like I say, it's very, very clever.
Do you know,
it's brilliantly written.
But it does have rules. It has rules that you can understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not just, making up for the sake of it. And I think, again, Chris did say that he created himself a bit of a headache, didn't he? He sort of, he got so far and then he realised that, because the way he'd set up the logic of the time ticking down created certain problems that he had to really think about and got quite irritated by.
Yeah.
But managed to bash away through it and make it work.
The best thing about a shortening time loop is it's like a countdown to a bomb going off, right? You're always heading to a climax.
Yeah.
And because it's getting smaller and smaller as you go, that's your suspense. There's your tension. Yeah. In the last loop, we've got a minute. We've got a minute to get it right. Otherwise, we're dead.
Structure for it. Yeah.
It's like it's like Alfred Hitchcock, isn't it? When he says you if you got a ticking time bomb somewhere, Always put a bomb in a scene. That's it. Always have a countdown.
Oh, I love all the little gentle moments these two get. There's a bit, I don't know if it's here, where every time he says something, she says, "Oh no, no," and then the Dalek kills him, and she goes, "No,
no." Yeah. Oh, it might be this bit actually.
I think of all of Chibnall's scripts, this is the tightest script that he wrote in terms of plotting.
Oh,
but also in terms of having affecting character moments, the bit where Dan basically outs Yaz and says, "I know how you feel about her," I think that is the one emotional moment that lands the most for me in this, because I know plenty of people that have had feelings for the same sex and haven't known how to deal with it. Just the way Mandip plays it is just perfect.
Yeah, she says, I haven't even told myself, or something like that, didn't she? And
she can turn a tear on a Dalek, can't she?
Yeah.
Oh, she can.
It's weird because in the first couple of years, like, she did get stuff to do, but it wasn't really until the other two went that she really got focused and we really saw what she could do.
I was so pleased she stayed on, to be with them and did the whole era. And it's been great to see Jodie busy since she finished. I'd like to see Mandip doing more. She did the ghost thing on stage, and she's done some voiceovers and bits and pieces like that. And there is a film coming out that she's got a part in, but I'd like to see her in a big show, and just to see more of her, because I think she's great.
Look at the lighting on that, though.
That's fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's the
laser
best
gun just
the Daleks have been lit
there.
since.
Oh my goodness!
Do you remember Into the Dalek when they dock on that ship and they all come out and it's all done in the silhouette? This is the best.
And they have they've got the camera mounted on the Daleks as they move around, haven't they? Which is pretty cool.
There's one bit, Jeff, where we're from the point of view of the Dalek's gun. The camera's just to the side of the Dalek as it's going in the room.
Yeah.
And so we're the gun for a second.
Yeah.
It's very video. It's like Doom. It's very video game. It's so cool. Think, why has no one done that before? It's just brilliant.
Oh, this is the bit where I think you're on about, isn't it?
Oh, where she keeps saying no. Yeah.
It's an embarrassing time to let you know now. So why are you saying it to me like this now? Right, because we're going to be killed by aliens again.
And like I said, she's kind of horrible to him.
Yeah, exactly.
The episode, you know? Oh, come on, don't you think this is weird? She says at one point.
Here it comes.
I mean, I'm generally more direct with people I fancy, right? Like, I'll just say, oi, I want to fuck you, let's go.
Just come out with it. There's no point beating around the bush, is there, to be honest?
I certainly don't go to a self-storage place once a year on New Year's.
Yeah, he really played the long game here, didn't he?
Yeah.
Some people just don't have that confidence.
Socially awkward with arrogant.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly, that is an argument I don't always buy. Because people, it's just that scene at the end of Can You Hear Me? Where she says, "Oh, I'm very socially awkward, I can't help you out here." And I believe that, because I know people like that. But there are other times when Jodie Whittaker's Doctor is so eloquent in social situations, and I'm like, okay, we that doesn't tally up with what we're seeing elsewhere. During the Punjab, when she's doing the marriage ceremony, there's no social awkwardness there.
I think there's a difference though, because she's given a task to do in that. The Doctor's always good at taking charge and being the loudest voice in the room and the centre of attention and the person that, everybody, I'm clever, everybody look at me, I'm in charge, I give the rules and everything else. But in that moment with Graham, that's not, she's not in charge of that at all. He's decided he wants that conversation. She's not in the zone for it at all. And in a way, it's not that she doesn't care, but just that she's just not prepared. She hasn't got anything rewritten in her head to say. Has probably never had to respond to anybody who said anything like that to her at all, and just doesn't know what to do. So kind of turns it into a joke. That's why I kind of.
Yeah, the same. I always sort of took it that she was trying to sort of diffuse the situation a little bit, and I think not everyone knows what to say in the face of death.
Definitely.
In many ways. I'm currently working on a project about end of life care and stuff, and it's been really interesting doing it. And also, a friend of mine lost their little boy recently, and so it's been quite a lot of. And my aunt passed away recently as well, so there's been quite a lot of thoughts about all that sort of stuff. And when I saw my friend at the wake, and I thought, I don't know what to say. But I thought, I'm just going to try to be normal. And, you know, we all dressed up in superhero-related stuff in honour of her little boy, and I had a Captain Marvel T-shirt.
Brilliant.
And my wife said, Ellie's not going to know what you're wearing. I said, I promise you, Ellie will know what this is. And when we saw her, I said, oh, Ellie, do you recognise my symbol on my T-shirt? And she opened her jacket, and she had a Captain Marvel suit on. And I turned to Ellie, and I went, told you. So that was how we got chatting.
I still think, though, like, even though I'm giving it a critical reading, I think that scene at the end of Can You Hear Me was so brilliantly handled, because I think Chris Chibnall knew that would be a divisive scene, and it would get people talking, and that was the point of that episode, to get people talking about mental health and how we react to it.
Yeah, and he said he also, because he had cancer, didn't he, Paul? And he experienced all those sort of reactions himself, and it's funny. We're sorry, but we're still talking about that episode and Kablam and stuff like that all these years later, and I think you're right, Joe.
I think Kablam is sorely underrated.
Yeah,
so many of them are. Yeah,
deliberately misinterpreted.
Do you know what I'm learning is, because I'm about to do Series 11, Jeff, as you know, on Strictly Come Hamster, and the comments that are coming in, I think my co-host was expecting a deluge of negative comments, and it's been about 80% positive and 20% negative. So I think the tide is turning on this era already.
Yeah.
When I saw
it's always been my favourite of the Jodie. In fact, the whole modern era, Series 11, is my favourite for so many reasons. It's unreal.
There was a
and
comment
I will
by
fly that
called,
flag.
No, not the Mind Probe, that said something quite similar to that.
Not the
strange,
probe.
that, isn't it? Just to finish off on Can You Hear Me? Because I know. Don't forget, also, that was written, or partly written, by Charlene James as well, who has a history of writing plays that deal very intimately with people with mental health issues, and how society kind of tries to frame them and deal with them, and fails more times than it succeeds to do so.
Well, the reason I think that's a better exploration of mental health than Vincent and the Doctor, and I do think Vincent and the Doctor is an absolute classic, but it's because there's four plots there. It explores mental health in 4 different ways, and I think pretty much everybody in the audience can see themselves in one of those plots. Really clever, or woke, as some people might have you say.
Hey, I'll quite happily be called woke.
I think the people that are complaining are the people that don't like talking about that stuff.
Agreed.
Meanwhile, back on Eve of the Daleks.
We've just seen two Daleks blast each other,
shoot each other. Yeah, fabulous.
Why has that never happened before?
It has happened in the Chibnall era, hasn't it? When Ryan ducks and all the sniper bots end up shooting each other.
Yes. And for some reason, I've just remembered when Jodie slides across the floor in Resolution, and then she says something along the lines of, "Did you see that slide?
Brilliant." I love that. The way she takes pride in these little things that she does. It's like, did you see that? Yeah.
Just before she uses Chekhov's microwave.
Yeah.
I love that. It's just such an obvious plot thing, this enormous microwave that they're all holding.
Do you know, I remember someone on Twitter had a real go about that. Like, you can't use a fucking microwave to blow up a Dalek. That's just fucking stupid.
Have you watched the classic series? There are
exactly. And I made the point, right, where I said to them, look, what would you rather do? They just make something up, or they use something which actually can do some damage. The microwave can't do any fucking damage. Just mow it. Oh, really? Okay, well, you put your face next to an exposed magnetron and tell me what you look like in the morning. Oh yeah, okay, I suppose you're right. This is
a good
brilliant. I love
sneeze
this.
Sees off the Cybermen in Sylph and Nemesis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, this is a wonderful speech.
I love this. This is Jodie's Doctor, the 13th Doctor, typified in this little speech. Hope, working together, collaborating, failing, trying, failing, eventually succeeding, being better through teamwork and doing something. I love this.
And she can just deliver this sort of verbal diarrhea just so beautifully now, you know?
Cinematic
it's not
clowning.
Like, try and deliver that speech yourself. It's not easy dialogue to get out and pace.
Yeah.
Remember some of the stuff in Saranga Conundrum as well. You know, it's really kind of techno.
That's another
battle.
tight script, I think. Actually, that one.
I'll tell you the
massive
best
attention.
example I've got of this. So, a scene from Power of the Doctor was filmed at my other half's old workplace, okay?
Oh, really?
So, 2 or 3 years before it was on the telly, and one member of the crew stupidly left 4 pages of the script in the bin, right? And so he pulled it out, and he rings me up straight away, and he goes, "Oh my God, I've got script from Power of the Doctor, and guess what? This is 3 years before anything was announced.
Oh my goodness!
It's got the names Ace and Tegan in it." I went, "Oh."
Did he tell you?
Yeah, of course he did. I went, "Oh, bullshit." I went, "That's just they've left a dummy script, for God's sake. They're not bringing back Sophie Aldred, for God's sakes." Anyway, egg on my face. But there was the bit, where, you know, where she goes into the volcanology place.
Yes.
Where the Master shrunk all the people. And she walks in the room and she delivers all this exposition. Anyway, I looked at the script and I went, there is no way on earth anyone can ever deliver that in a naturalistic way. I mean, will you look at that amount of exposition? And then I watched the episode and she just flies with it.
It makes me think of the legend of what Harrison Ford said to George Lucas on Star Wars. You can write this shit, George, but you can't say it.
Sure as hell can't say it.
But I think at this point, obviously, Chibnall knows how to write for Jodie. He knows what her strengths are as an actor. So he can give her a big speech like this, and he knows
knowing she can drop it.
And she's his doctor as well. You know, when people say, "Oh, I'd like to have seen 13 written by RTD or Moffat or something," it would have been fun. But she's Chris's doctor, and he's going to write her the best way, you know.
That bit there where she stands in front of all of them, and the music's like da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Oh my God. Can we please praise that there also of Segan Akinola as well, please?
Yeah, please.
His Dalek theme is a real banger.
Look at this. This is the money shot right here. The framing of the blocking of this shot, right? The Doctor in front, people behind, and a pyramid of Daleks.
Little bit of backlighting on it.
Now, this is the one that counts, isn't it? Is this the final time loop, I believe? And she's tired. She's run off her feet, poor Sarah.
Trapped in that lift. Absolutely terrified. Because it has to remember to make the Daleks scary as well. I know they're being witty, but it does make them scary.
It really does. That's another thing Chibnall's been really good at. Bringing the terror back into the Daleks.
I mean, guys, we're 42 minutes into this episode already. It's nearly over.
I know. Yeah. It just flies by, doesn't it? And how many times we all watched it between us, though? Do you know what I mean? Because it's almost
the
like
week this came out, I'm not lying to you. I watched this episode 10 times. I watched it over and over. I was in a time loop watching the episode, and it wasn't getting shorter.
Again, we've got a whole different way of lighting the scene now. It's by torchlight, right? So with same corridors, but different feel, different atmosphere, different tension and stakes.
Oh, you know what's coming now, don't you?
This
is the confession scene.
This is the one this is the time loop that goes wrong, isn't it?
I know people complaining about Dan saying to the Doctor, you know how she feels. But actually, no, he did need to literally grab her and say, why are you behaving like this? You know she feels something for you. Like, wake up.
Yeah,
I
never
that lovely bit at the end of the episode when all the fireworks are going up and she looks across at Yaz. And I think she's genuinely thinking, can I do this?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, anyone who says there's no feels, that there's no emotion in this era, bullshit.
and also, I was going to say in relation to that, actually, you know, talking about Tosin earlier, in Resolution, that scene with him and his dad, where they're...
But it's mad, even despite all the tension, we can still get nice little character moments like this, can't we? And, you know, quite momentous ones in the case of this particular bit.
It doesn't even feel like the pace is slowing either.
No, not at all.
Because it's only sort of a minute, this scene. But then, brilliantly, the tone of the scene changes because the Dalek's in the room with them and she becomes aware. And she does that brilliant thing that she did in Village of the Angels where she cries when she's scared.
Yes.
It's a great performance choice.
Yeah, totally agree.
Boy, we're lucky to have Mandip Gill.
Really well.
Out.
And look, the Dalek eye stalk, that's all you can see. Just the blue of his eye. Look at her, she's terrified. Well, because she knows she's going to die. Again. The Doctor cannot save you. Oh, they're bastards, aren't they?
They're nasty, the Daleks.
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, they've never been known for being, nice
no, they're not the most
friendly.
cuddly type of people.
Oh, is this the bit where she finds Sarah dead in the lift? Yeah, that's horrible.
Oh, it's too tense.
Oh.
I know, see, we're all watching now.
I know that this always happens when we do commentaries, doesn't it? We
This
get into the
happens when we
final
do
bit and we're
commentaries,
just
yeah.
totally into the
Oh,
totally
the
into the
Doctor's
story.
pissed. She just goes, I'm angry now. It
I
is
was
pretty
gonna- I
great
think I
that the
cut
whole
out
thing is...
just now.
Don't you worry, we kept talking.
We did keep talking.
No,
Yeah.
I was going to say
Yeah.
about Tosin and that scene in Resolution where he's chatting with his dad, and he is
I
so
love that
good
bit.
in that bit. If you've ever had a strained relationship or anything like that, then
Jeff,
I
that
think
is
it's-
exactly the relationship I had with my dad.
Yeah.
And I had that conversation with my
Did you?
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was in a pub whilst football was playing because that's my dad. I would prefer it if it was a nice, quiet cafe. But no, beautiful. I mean, I get the complaints that the pace stops for that long scene.
Yes,
But it's
yeah.
still a great scene.
Still
it's
necessary.
really important, and to Ryan's arc and his arc with Graham.
But in the even in the fastest pace, like dramas, movies, TV shows, whatever, you still need to just bring it down a few moments for the speed and the tension to kind of just pull it back a minute, and then bang, you go again. If you have like 90 minutes of sheer escalating tension, that's a very difficult thing to kind of sit through.
It is, and also if you don't get those character moments, I always think it doesn't matter how much stuff is blowing up, how many spaceships are flying around. None of it means anything if you don't care about the people involved in it.
You got to think about the layers that this is working on. Not only is it telling like a puzzle piece of its own, a standalone story, it's doing fallout from the Flux because the Daleks are going after the Doctor because of what happened in the Vanquishers. It's doing ongoing character arcs with the Doctor and Yaz. It's telling a romantic character piece with Sarah and Nick. Like, there's lots happening.
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
So in a way, you could almost say, well, it kind of brings a lot of different storylines together and creates its own thing entirely within a very contained unit.
I remember when this came out, and I remember the social media reaction was really positive. And a lot of people going, I'm not used to feeling this way about a Chris Chibnall episode,
And then the rest of us
Because Murray
are
Gold
saying,
hasn't told me how to feel.
yeah, we've got it all along, yeah.
I've got to make my own mind up, and I kind of liked it.
I'd like to see a Target novel of this one.
Yes. Well, do you know what? I was asked that question recently of which new series episode, and I said I want one written by Chris Chibnall because he's the only showrunner that hasn't written one. But I said Power of the Doctor.
Yes.
I want to see him because I fucking love Power of the Doctor, but
It's really
I want to
good.
see him justify all of those insane amount of elements he threw into it in a novel. God, it's just
think about
glorious,
Power of the
isn't
Doctor.
it?
He just totally gazumped the 60th Doctor Who, didn't he? Really,
Yeah.
with that, because you can't follow that with another multi-Doctor type story.
Power of the Doctor, if you'll forgive the metaphor, it's like a 90-minute wank, right? That's all orgasm. I mean, it's just pure pleasure from beginning to end.
90-minute fan wank for Doctor Who.
Oh my God, gorgeous.
Oh, is this? Hang on, here comes one of my favourite lines. Doing it for show.
Oh, my favourite bit's coming up in a second, isn't it? Where she's cocky when she's sitting down in the chair. Haven't we got a brilliant plan? They're all like, yeah.
You're worried now.
I can see why we always go back to the Bronze Daleks, though. I mean, they just are iconic now, aren't they?
They are now. Yeah.
Oh my God. How have we not talked about her mother?
Oh, who's always trying to ring her?
Mrs.
Yeah.
Doyle as well.
Yeah, that's another thing going on as well, isn't it? Another character.
If we're reliant on my mother to ring on time to save the day, we're all dead.
We're all screwed.
That is one of the best jokes. Oh, this
Dead
is
in the
really
water.
sad. She goes, I love you, Mummy. She goes, oh my God, are you dying?
Yeah.
She goes, It's really funny.
But and this is another strand of the story is actually Sarah becoming a much nicer person. Realising perhaps how abrasive she is and how she hasn't told her mum all the things she probably should have said to her. Thinking about how she talks to her mum. She's always rude to her mum, and yet now she suddenly understands how valuable her mum is and what she means.
No, I'm not drunk, mummy.
So everything else, you got this?
The lines will be busy at midnight. No, they won't, mummy.
No, they won't, mummy. Male human located.
Look, now that's how Graham Harper used to shoot a Dalek.
Yeah. Stuck the camera.
There you go. That's the Doom.
Yeah.
That's the Doom shot, isn't it?
Oh my God, we are the gun.
Do you think
this is where that joke hits? Exterminated.
Yeah.
Look, if Moffat can get away with that dreadful pun, eggs. Do you remember eggs?
Yeah.
Then Chibnall can get away with exterminated.
That's a lot of destruction.
Well, he got away with the Master's Dalek plan in Power of the Doctor as well, didn't he?
Oh my God, I cheered. I mean, I spent most of that episode cheering, if I'm honest, but...
Do you remember that silhouette shot when he's got the silhouette of Nick's hair on it as well? Top floor electrical.
He goes, thank you for the therapy. You've just killed it. You destroyed everything in the room.
Yeah. But I say there's a definite therapy for Nick and Sarah through this. They both kind of exercise their demons in a way.
There would be something about, like, if you knew you were going to die, right, but you could come back... Oh, hang on. Shut up, Joe. This is my favourite scene. Just having some beef and beans.
Yeah.
Might put on the hootenanny.
Yeah. Just sitting there, having a bit of a...
Daleks do not have friends. Yeah, well, you've only got yourselves to blame for that.
Ma'am, don't speak.
She just looks so
They're all going for it now. Look, they're so organised now, aren't they? Got to move, bang,
they're so
bang,
organised.
Bang, bang.
Look how chill they are.
Go.
Yeah.
We've got this. It's all right.
I always feel that Jodie would have stayed on longer if they hadn't agreed to do the 3 seasons, and that her 3rd series was in many ways cut short. And I think as soon as she can get on Big Finish, I think she'll come back. And part of me wants that to happen yesterday, but I also am happy to wait to make it even more special when it happens. Do you know what I mean? Like when they had Tennant come to Big Finish, it was like 5 years, 6 years after he left the show, and it was like I remember getting the email. I was out walking my son, and I was looking at my email, pushing him in his pram, and I thought, oh my God! And I had to stop in the park. I've got to order the Tennant set, from Big Finish, and so do you know what I mean? Like that wait made it more special. So as much as I want Jodie, I'm happy to wait a little bit for it.
Do you know what I'm sad to have missed out on? I think it was in your interview that I heard it, that there was another Vinay Patel script that was mooted.
Yes.
And Demons of the Punjab is one of my favourite Doctor stories of all time. And I love
beautiful story
as well. So
they were working on something, weren't they, when they started to get all the COVID stuff coming through?
Come on, Big Finish, The Lost Stories, Vinay Patel's missing script. Oh, how it all ramps up now as well. And the music just builds and builds.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, and then don't we see that fella from The Woman Who Fell to Earth?
Yes,
he's watching it all on his phone.
Fireworks,
I think that's lovely.
I think, it is. It took me a while to realise who it was.
We're going, oh, who is that? Who cares about him? I'm like, oh, fuck off. I
thought it was Jeff originally, the guy, and it's not, is it? I forgot his name.
The man who says, I am special. I am somebody.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
the crane operator guy. And it's just it's just a nice little tie-in in this whole era, and it makes it this whole little world within itself. That's some good CG work there.
I thought we weren't going to see the building explode, and then I was like, oh, wowzers.
Yeah,
you know what? I'll say it again. Fireworks. I've said it a million times on my podcast recently.
Yeah.
We are not seeing money on the screen in RTD2 with Disney money. We're not seeing the money that we saw on screen in Jodie's time. So I'm not sure why. And do you know what I think it is? I think Chris Chibnall thinks in terms of making a movie for TV, and I think Rusty Davies thinks in terms of making TV for TV. So he thinks big, and he does big set pieces, but there's just something blockbusting about what Chibnall's doing.
Yeah. I mean, it was all noticeable, I think, from the very first shot in The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and it just opens on, that high ground over Sheffield, but it looks like a movie. They're using different lenses. The ratios across the screen is different. The lighting looks just so much richer and more filmic and cinematic. Better.
Do you remember the last 10 minutes of Punjab where they're running through the fields of poppies? Beautiful. The horse is coming in slow motion. That is a movie.
It is the lighting through the shed where before it all kicks off, and
it's gorgeous.
There's a beautiful shot in there where they shoot the sunlight through the guy who pulls the trigger on the rifle, and it's heartbreaking and beautiful.
On that strictly, Jeff, I'm going to be unstoppable when it comes to Demons of the Punjab.
Good.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be your number one fan. Can I dial in? Can I dial into it? Is it going to be live?
Please.
Is that like, hello, yes, fan from Wiltshire here. You haven't heard me before. The last 20 people weren't me.
Can't you see those penises there in that long shot?
I don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah, you just obviously see penises everywhere. You're worse than my daughters,
They
honestly.
look like big flaccid penises.
I've never once seen a penis hanging down from the TARDIS, but now I can't unsee it.
It's all the sort of atmospheric lighting that I like, especially when they do episodes like Can You Hear Me, when it all goes blue or red,
It pulls it right down, doesn't it?
I always feel that this TARDIS interior is warm and alien at the same time, and you'd feel safe in it.
Look, this is a great example of Jodie's Doctor avoiding talking about stuff. Yeah. She does it all the bloody time. Mm-hmm. That's why I like the end of Legends of the Sea Devils, where they finally get their moment on the beach.
Yep, sitting on the beach, yeah.
So lots of things we don't mean.
Yeah, look at that. That relationship has changed there.
Have you got your passport? No, I don't have my passport, Mummy. I said fire to it in a bin. Yes, I have my passport. Jesus. You know what? You could literally say this isn't me on this call. I don't sound anything like myself today with this sore throat.
He's so very husky.
I know. Hello.
I like it.
Oh, Jeff, let's talk.
Hello,
and see, look, just like Nick and Sarah, we've had our own romance doing the commentary on this episode.
Yeah, just beautiful. I feel a lot closer to you guys now.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this so much. I think we should do another one. Could we justify Power of the Doctor one?
Oh my God, that was an epic.
Only if I can stare at my phone like an old woman, just as Tegan does. Yes, but of course I'll be well then. So
That would be something.
That would be really
good. Isn't that a great line? He goes, "Was that a first date?" I feel as if it was more of a meet cute.
Yeah, which is a big. That's
brilliant. You know what? Right, I hear there was complaints all around the country of fabric tearing and people's when they all had massive boners when that Sea Devil appeared at the end of this episode and his eyes blinked in CGI.
Yep. I can confirm that was true. I think I texted you, Paul, didn't I? And I said, "Oh my God, the Sea Devils!" It was a great little
P.S.
trailer.
I've got a massive boner as well.
Yeah, that's two on my trousers.
Yeah. Well, we had that next time trailer, and then the following one was Ace and Tegan, wasn't it?
I mean, that was just incredible.
Oh boy, oh boy.
That was something else.
This legend of the.
And then up they come out of the blur.
Now, my insane
drop it.
co-host of Strictly Come Hamster declared Legend of the Sea Devils the single worst Doctor Who story of all time. But he's mad. He's insane.
That is insane. There's a lot.
I just did a commentary on it last week, and I had great fun watching it.
And that was when I got piled on social media, isn't it? Because I dared tweet a picture of something and said, "This looks really nice," and oh my God, the fallout from that was unreal.
I saw all of that. I think I jumped in at one point.
It was fun, actually.
Not to dismiss the storytelling of Legend of the Sea Devils, but visually, man, oh man. I mean, it hasn't got much competition, The Smugglers and Curse of the Black Spot. But it's easily the best pirate Doctor Who story we've ever had.
Absolutely, yeah. It's got a flying ship,
Yeah.
Kind of, was it, what do you call him? Captain Thingy. Sparrow, Jack Sparrow. What's that called? Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
Jesus, that was hard work dragging that one up. Yes, it kind of riffs on all that sort of stuff, doesn't it? You know?
So I've got a few comments.
I'm a fan of those films. Go on, Jeff. Yeah, what are the comments? What have we got?
Okay, so let me just make this
What
bigger
say
so
the people?
So Michael Moslin says, "Love a ground loop adventure, or is it Time Hog Day?"
Oh, well done. Well done, Michael.
The Eternal Feline says, excellent adventure. Jodie and the Daleks always were. Love the 3 Dalek stories of her era, and this was probably the best. Despite being thrown together last minute due to COVID, it is perfectly crafted for endless rewatches, as you've proved, Joe, with your 10 in a week.
Tested.
Oh my god! But do you know what? That's a good point, because there's 3 Dalek stories. How would you rank them? I'd go Eve, Resolution, Revolution.
I'd probably go Resolution, Eve, Revolution. Right?
Oh, that's a bastard hard one.
I think Revolution is the lowest one, but it's still good.
I'm going to say this: Resolution and Revolution are 2 parts of one story, and Eve. So it's Resolution and Revolution and Eve equal. That's how I get around it. Like when people say, "What's your favourite Doctor Who story of all time?" The answer is Flux, because it's one story.
Just you know what? I think I might agree with you there. Although Power of the Doctor might be on par with it as well.
Yes, but I felt that would be too obvious if I said that. Andy Parkinson says, I love Eve of the Daleks, definitely the best of the Chibbers Xmas specials, brilliantly contained and tense. Ashlyn B is perfect, and I love the different range of weapons that Dan picks up to use. I am not Nick is an iconic line, probably my fave Dalek story from the new era.
Andy Parkinson is a man of pure charisma, smarts, and good humour. We love you, Andy.
I hope he's
love
listening.
You, Andy.
He should come on for a Meet the Whovians with us. Michael Storm says, by far the best script for Who that Chibbs has written. Intricate plotting, fun characters, though I think a few revisions were needed on Nick to make him seem less mild stalker. Great direction and a fun, if seemingly pointless new Dalek weapon. Yeah, I think people always interpret things differently, don't they? But what you were saying was really interesting, Joe.
It is, because he's a harmless guy. You know, how many harmless people are out there? What's the word? Vilified, made into a villain, a monster, just because they don't communicate with people. You know, because they don't pick up on the same social cues. You know, I think there's a lesson for all of us in there, not to judge people, not to indict somebody, paint them a label. You know, this person's that something or something else, because that's where bullying starts. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to pile on somebody just because they don't give us the right social cues, or seem a little bit standoffish.
The only thing that frightens me though, Paul, is that now people will be trusting everybody with dodgy social cues, and actually quite a lot of people we know are going to be murdered.
Do you know what? I found that the best murderers are those who everyone says, well, I never thought you had it in him. He was such a lovely man.
No one's
he was always
friendly
to them. He was friendly to them. He always gave us cakes for the village fete. Turns out he's got a whole pile of people in his back garden buried under the patio. There you go. See, it's always the people you least suspect. There you go. They're the ones to watch out for.
Marcus Cott says, I think it made my top 3 when I ranked Whittaker's episodes. Steve Tudor had completed a trilogy of great New Year Dalek specials and the most fun of the 3. Other than the fun of Power, those specials were the highlight of 13's era for me. And the wonderful Lucy McCall says, I really enjoyed it. I loved how much we learnt about Dan. He's a nice guy, but he isn't daft. The moment when he looked at the Dalek and said, took you long enough, was brilliant. The characters were very engaging. I'm not entirely convinced that Nick was storing stuff from ex-girlfriends. I imagine him buying things in charity shops and pretending. It's a bit creepy, but it was brushed aside by the speed of the story. Last thing, I love the Doctor almost quoting Samuel Beckett, ever tried, ever failed, no matter, try again, fail better.
So, is that all Lucy?
Yeah.
Oh,
she's good.
Fabulous.
I love Lucy.
She is fabulous, isn't she? Yeah. So, Paul, I think you've got a couple of audio clips.
I do, mate. Well. I do indeed. Yeah, the first one's from Very Pete Lambert. Let's have a listen.
Pete
we
Lambert,
love Very Pete.
Eminently fuckable. Let's go.
Hello, this is Very Pete Lambert off Twitter, and Eve of the Daleks is one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes of New Who, probably doing pretty well across all of Who altogether. Moffat never had a clue what to do with the Daleks. He wasn't interested. They were just cogs. They were just part of the puzzle. Russell T Davies, after a really good start...
He's gone.
What happened there?
He's gone. I don't know. Hold on, let me see... It's still playing, as far as this is concerned. Let me see if it was... No,
Pete,
I think
come back, Pete, come
breaks
back.
out.
Oh, no. I was only getting into that one.
Let me go forward a bit.
They make him a little bit too weird. They over-egg that joke of him hoarding all of his ex's things. We get it. It's just meant to be a metaphor for letting go of your past and everything, which.
We're in suspense. He's still playing, so it must have.
Just imagine very smart things being said right
Very
now.
smart stuff that Pete's saying here. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pete,
totally
you'll have
agree.
Oh, I just realised.
Another
So he
one.
just said. He said it's about a metaphor about letting the past go, which is exactly what the Doctor just did in The Vanquishers.
Yes.
Bang on. There you
There
go.
we go.
Look at that.
Ooh,
Wow.
I said he was
Pete.
smart.
Let's go to Gareth Bowley instead.
Oh my God! Gareth Bowley is a voice artist, so
Is he?
Is he
man
really?
listen to his
Hello,
voice.
Gareth Bowley here.
Oh,
So Eve of the Daleks is a fantastic story.
fantastic stuff.
And the reason why it's so good is because it's an economical story. Constantly going back over itself, building up that tension with the timeline getting closer and closer. And if you wanted more justification for the magnificence of this story, then it's Yaz's line about who looks at beans and think it needs more beef. With lines like that, this is definitely a winner in my book.
Thank you,
There's
Gareth.
That's brilliant.
There's just
Fantastic.
tons of great comedy lines in this,
There
in this
is.
script.
Yeah. There's a lot there. I think it's a good testament of the script when you can watch it just endlessly again and again and again and still get enjoyment out of it. You know the lines, you know the story, you know what's coming next every single time, but you can't resist watching it just one more time. And then again, and then again, and then again.
Yeah.
It's an absolute bona fide classic.
I say above everything though, the execution, the direction of this episode is so vital, and they really did well to bring in Annette Lautner. This is a tough thing to put together. To put together a time loop episode
agreed.
where you're doing the same thing again and again, but keeping it visually interesting each time.
It's like we
Kudos.
said, wasn't it? Same corridors, time and again, but lit differently, different feel for each one. The stakes are slightly higher. There's maybe a bit of a love thing going on in this one. In this one, it's full of death.
Yeah, it's
Well, and
brilliantly done.
Death
Yeah.
and love.
Death and love,
Death.
yeah.
Love, death, and robots. That's what this is.
Love, death, and exterminations.
Brilliant. There you go. That's what it is. That's Eve of the Daleks in a nutshell, I would say. And what's happened to Jeff?
We've lost Jeff again.
Well,
Jeff's
Joe,
gone.
thanks very much
what's
for
going on,
joining
dude?
us.
He's literally frozen
this
at
has
an
been
angle,
a time
like some
loop.
kind of... He looks like a sort of half-converted Cyberman.
We sort of
stuck
like
like
that.
Tom Baker in the Five
I don't know if
Doctors.
you can hear me.
There
That's
he is.
him, yeah. Oh, he's back out of his time scoop loop. Oh, no, he's gone again.
No, he's got to go.
I think he's trying to say goodbye,
I think he is too.
When should we tell him? We can't hear him.
Hold on.
Jeff, are you receiving us?
Jeffrey!
Yes.
Oh, no. No, he's totally gone there, isn't he? He's totally out of it. Is he coming back? The weird thing about this platform, though, is it carries on.
Oh, he has gone.
Even
He's had
whilst
enough.
he really has gone.
Enough of you two.
Yeah, that's not nice, is it?
I'm
really?
out of here.
What an unsociable git. Hold on, let's see. Are you
Are you coming
offline?
back?
Are you coming back?
Do I have to do anything this end to save it or anything?
No, it all saves. It all uploads. When we finish, it will give you like a little readout.
Hello?
Dude, you're there. You're back.
Hello, I'm back. Sorry, my internet dropped out. I
That's
record
right.
in the confines of my conservatoire, and
Conservatoire, your
the internet's
orangery.
not very good out here.
How
Maybe
did
we
you
should-
do, Jeff?
That was excellent. I really enjoyed that.
Sorry
and,
about the croaky voice.
Oh no,
And
no.
the copious amounts of tissues that have been flying
Yeah,
into your
sorry.
face.
Well, they're very sticky. Yeah.
Probably just that shot. He's probably got mountains of them all.
Yeah.
up
I have
there,
just
like-
watched Eve of the Daleks though, so I got quite excited. You know?
This happens every time you watch
Yeah,
Eve of the Daleks,
yeah,
is it?
yeah.
Yeah, that was
God
great.
bless.
I'd really like to. I'd like to do another one.
Yes,
at some
let's
point,
do
so
another. Let's do
sort
more.
that out. Yeah, this
Tell
is
me
fun.
when. I'll be
Okay.
there.
Good
Brilliant.
man. That's
What,
what we
another
like.
Jodie, you mean?
Or anything. This has just been
no,
great
come
fun.
on, let's do more Jodies.
Okay.
I tell you what we should do.
We've got to do it for the era.
I think we
Yes.
should do the Saranga conundrum.
Yeah,
that would be a
but
bit
team.
that. Yeah.
Bit of
Yes.
thing.
Plus, I do look like I'm pregnant as well, a male pregnancy. So
I think it's a wildly underrated story.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I think it's an absolute
fantastic set
really
design on
is.
that. The pating is brilliant. I showed my kids the bit with the pating, and they went, "Ooh, he's horrible." And then he burped, and they went, "Oh, he's disgusting." But they liked
Kids
it.
love that.
You know,
I love it when he swallows the ball, but he goes.
That beatific look on his face. Yeah.
Oh dear God!
Brilliant stuff.
Oh, I'm gonna go and die.
Yes, you go take it easy.
You do that. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute delight, my friend, to have you on. We love you loads, and we'll have you back anytime.
Until next time.
TTFN.